In the second third of the semester, we're going to be concentrating on value, how to create volume. We're going to go through and explore some different techniques, finish up with a somewhat finished drawing. All of this we're learning, all the line exercises, everything is gradually developing, evolving. You'll be using them in combination with your line exercises in combination with value to create volume. But we want to start with just to take a look at the value scale. And what we're going to really focus on is the relationship of these values to each other. So we'll be counting the values that we see in a composition. We'll be comparing them, like if I see a dark gray somewhere in the drawing, or the still life, and then I see another dark gray, the same dark gray. So when you compare, when you make a comparison and find and locate the same values that you see and repeat throughout the composition, then you're learning a great deal. So we're going to use that method to see as much as we can in regard to value. The next the first assignment. This is the first assignment in your value study, and I want to see several, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 spheres. First thing you want to do is to create 3 distinctive values in one column. You see you have black square, a mid-tone gray square, and light square. Then you're going to use a hatching technique, and you'll have to zoom in on this to see it. The second one is a crosshatch. Tonal is another one. Stipple, scumble, and smudge. So these are all different techniques, and I want you to maybe not do all 6 of them, but let's say do 4. The spheres don't have to be any larger than 2 inches, 3 inches. Probably if you get it too small, you can't really do the hatching and cross hatching. It's almost impossible. But if you go to say like a 3-inch sphere, then that gives you a little bit of space in there to work your hand-eye coordination. After you've completed that, then I want you to, here's a real how-to, pulled it off the internet, and it's how to draw a mouth. And of course, this is an ideal proportion mouth, but it's like a template, it's a pattern. But we can use this and then when we start observing and drawing an actual mouth, you'll have this theory-based information, and you apply that to the actual observation process, realizing everybody has a different mouth. But there's certain things that you can bet on. As a form is moving around the face, and you want it to look round and not flat, like it's pasted onto your face. You realize there's a little slight curve in the line. First thing you want to do is you're going to locate the center point, so you see your vertical axis is established. You've got the top and how big the lip is on the bottom, and a little tiny horizontal line down there. So then you find the curve. Is a person smiling? Are they sad? And you draw that line, the length you think it should be, across the page. That's the line. So you don't start with the outside lip. You start with that line in between 2 lips, and that's what you go with. And so that gets you started. The second little drawing here, sketch, gives a little more information, a little more definition, starting to bring in some value. Gets darker on the sides because the lip is curving on your face. So those values, as they go back in space, are going to be a little bit darker. Then you get into the third drawing. Notice that we're really getting into some blending. And also that the lip on the bottom does not have a line, but it has a value change. There's an edge there where you have the shadow under the lip. Not an actual line. An actual line will flatten it out. So you want to work with your values to create volume. Then the next one, top lips are usually a little bit darker, and bottom lips are a little bit lighter. And then you could stop there. That looks pretty good, or you could take it to the next level. The more time you put into a drawing, the more realistic you want the drawing to be, the longer it's going to take. So this is a practice. It's all about practice. And the more we do this, more time we spend on our drawings, the better we're going to get. This is the last exercise, and it's actually working with a pen and ink, but I did not put that in your supply list because it can be so messy and damaging because permanent, and it can really make a mess at your house. But watercolors are water soluble, and so you can work with the black watercolor, or you could take a blue. But there's some steps here to go through, and the first one is to draw a circle about 3 inches in diameter, and then I want you to do the best you can do to create a flat. So you're going to put some water down, just clear water on the next one, and you're going to just blend that water the watercolor back and forth. Have a rag with you, a little sponge rag, so that you can lift if you have too much water. This is practice. This is all about practicing. You're going to all of a sudden work with a wet media. If you don't have wet media, I want you to do this with your pencil. And the object of the game here is to make a very flat, even value filling in that circle. Then we start to concentrate on volume, and you look at the circle down here at the bottom of the page. Notice how much work the student has put into that. So you've got your shadows and your highlights. Now, this should be a piece of cake because you've already done the spheres using different pencil cross-hatching, stippling technique. So this wet medium, again, is a little more challenging, but it's something that through practice, you can nail it. This is something you may want to use in your final project. So we're going to do right now just the exercise, and then we'll use and apply this knowledge, information to your final project if that's what you want to do. Notice the crumpled paper. There you go. You can do a little crumpled paper if you wanted to show the different values that create that three-dimensional form. Value scale to the left, or it's to your right. But I'm going to back up for a minute. The first thing I want you to do, just somewhere, is to draw a lot of different lines. This shows up here in your top left-hand corner. And it shows a lot of different lines that are thick lines, thin lines, scratchy lines, crosshatch lines, blurry lines, and see what your watercolor is going to do first. Always don't just jump in starting to use a new medium. You always start and practice on a piece of paper before you start your actual drawing or finished drawing.